Well, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 66 of Impact Makers. So, like Dustin, just a refresh for everybody. So, the last couple of chats or Impact Maker episodes, we talked about the power of turning on your video to make an impact in a remote environment, and then we also talked about that the future is still about relationships. The past has been about relationships. Let's be honest.
True.
But the secret sauce embedded in there is the strength of building relationships both internally and externally. So we've been in project sessions both remote and in person over the last couple of weeks. What has really stuck out with you, you know from an aha, have you had any ahas over the last couple of weeks, as you reflect upon that simple, hey, make sure you turn on your video, and to make sure you're building relationships.
Yeah. So since we started this series a few weeks ago, we've been paying closer attention in our workshop sessions and our project sessions to some of these characteristics that we're talking about, especially amongst the younger associates, seniors, in charges, supervisors. That level to just get some real world, real life feedback. And what we're seeing is, what we're talking about. When you're looking for it, it becomes pretty clear. And I know leadership in firms picks up on this as well, but it is really obvious who is engaged and who is not. And like we said, simple things like, without being asked, if you're on a group video call, default should be your video is on. Should be an exception to have it off. If you're in a workshop, be engaged, ask questions, volunteer, right? Take take charge a little bit. Show
Yep.
that you can be a leader. And especially in the last 2 weeks, we've seen some individuals, and we often get asked by some of our firm leaders who stood out, and the people that stood out are the ones that just display the characteristics we just mentioned, right?
Yep.
They're not afraid to answer questions. They're they're engaged. They're enjoying themselves in the session. That type of thing. That's leadership. Even as you're growing your technical ability, and you may not know that much yet. We know when it comes to details in the accounting world, whether it's tax, audit, whatever it might be. Um, but having a confidence, having an aura about you, that's a mindset, and we need more of our younger people taking, stepping up to that challenge, let's say. And in our last couple of weeks since we've been doing this series, we've been, like I said, paying close attention. It becomes pretty obvious who sticks out as that's someone that has a lot of potential in the firm. So I would encourage all of you, all of our listeners, as leaders within firms, to start paying attention to that too. Don't just worry about who's highly technical right out of the gate, because they can
Yep.
get lost in rabbit holes easy.
Yep. Yep.
Who who are your future leaders? And let's find ways to engage them.
Yeah, and I want to hit home 2 points on things that you said. It's not just the younger people. And I know you didn't mean that. But the building relationships, engaging in a remote environment, and engaging in project sessions, that's for everybody. We can see a difference even at the leadership team level,
Absolutely,
who's
yeah,
engaged and who looks like they're not super interested. We don't necessarily know what the not super interested is, because we kind of just jump in and jump out, but it does leave an impression. So you
yep,
just remember that as you're interacting both in person and in the remote environment, you are building a relationship, whether that relationship is positive or negative. And then the other thing, as you were talking, it reminded me, going way back to the spring in one of our project sessions, we had multiple members from their team in India on a project session with us. And with the time difference, it was like super late, getting into early in the morning.
yep,
And it was impressive on how engaged those individuals were. They wanted to ask, they asked multiple questions to make sure that they understood what the group was saying,
Yep.
and then made sure that they got their questions answered, so that it was, in that particular instance, it was a wow moment for us, because it was the first time we had interacted with their full team, with how connected they were, being that far apart.
Yep. Yeah, just
So
you got to be engaged. And like you said, I was focused more on just we from building off last week, focused on newer associates, the
yep.
pipeline, the accounting pipeline coming in. But you're right, it's obvious at all levels who's engaged and who's not, and not only for the work we're doing, but I know what all of the good initiatives firms around the country have. We need all levels more engaged in in what the future holds.